How much does DJ Lagway alone have you guys excited? Like, is it? I know we've had the running joke in here of if anything negative is said, but you finish it up with, but we got Lagway. and it kind of gives you a path forward. But honestly, like he kind of is that. He's kind of is that polarizing. He kind of is that lightning rod. It's just how much more excited are you about Gator football because of DJ Lagway?
Well, Dave, it's like Will Miles says, it's about hope.
Yeah.
And I think DJ provides the most hope for this program than we've seen in a long time. Long time.
I'm worried that we're going to waste it. We got to put people around him and capitalize on this talent that we all, are expecting to get over the next couple of years. That's my bigger fear is what's the expectations with next year? I mean, 8 or 9 wins. That's really,
no. I mean, we'll have a whole offseason to get in that, but
I didn't mean to go down.
No, you're fine. Like I'll start the conversation, but we got a whole offseason for it. Man, 9 is the absolute base for me, and that's just to at least get some good feelings. I even think 9 in some ways. If you're bringing back a coach for a 4th year, as I've already said, it's not a reset. Like 9,
anything less than a playoff contender next year is
yeah. You didn't bring Napier back to go win 8 games. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I think we're going to need more than just Lagway. He's going to have more talent around him. I mean, we had I'm not comparing him. I'd say Lagway is definitely better, but we had a game-changing quarterback with Trask and a different situation, I know, but we still only won 8 games. So, I just don't want to waste this golden opportunity.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree.
We've seen
we can't waste it.
Yeah, we've seen a really good offense be wasted. We really have.
Yeah,
in recent history,
and that's why this transfer class is so important. I keep trying to ask Bill about the importance of a solid transfer class coming here. We built on something coming into this year with who we were able to identify and then land. If this is more well funded, what could this look like next year? I mean, we're kind of stuck. I'm done with all the negativity about is Billy the right guy?
Right.
We're stuck.
Yeah, it's time to move forward. Hey, yeah. How can you get out of this?
What does this transfer class look like? That's the really big if, because this is the year we all wanted Lane Kiffin because he bought into a recruiting class and he had everybody aligned. And I know the expectations are bigger at UF than Ole Miss, but we're going to have to do the same buy-in that Lane did this year to this roster to make us a playoff contender next season.
See, I'm going to fight back on that a little bit. And it just popped in my head, so I'm glad you went there. To me, this isn't too similar to FSU and Ole Miss. Like, Florida's young nucleus of players is better than anything Ole Miss and FSU had. Florida's got to nail the transfer portal to build around those guys, but Florida doesn't have to nail the transfer portal to have a chance to be, those teams needed to make up for a lack of recruiting. Now, don't get me wrong, this recruiting for Billy Napier isn't good enough through high school recruiting, but it's better than what those programs have had as far as the young nucleus goes with Lagway and the backs and some of the young guys on defense. I mean, there's still a lot of high school recruited talent that I think you're enhancing with the transfer portal. You're not having to build your entire roster out of the transfer portal. Those two guys had to. Those two schools had to for FSU to go get their playoff appearance last year. Even Ole Miss, or close to their playoff appearance last year. Ole Miss to be so close that they are. Like, the transfer portal was a necessity to build the roster. Florida just needs to enhance the roster.
It just seems like a lot of the folks in here seem like using the transfer portal is almost like using God's name in vain, or you're going to end up like Florida State or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it's that dire. I don't. Don't get me wrong; it's still a need, but it's just not as dire as Ole Miss and FSU. And maybe I'm wrong. If y'all disagree with it, then go right ahead. I just think there's a little bit more of a nucleus to build around.
It worked for Ole Miss this year.
Having the quarterback depends on how the 25 class and how the 25 season goes, because that nucleus could be gone.
Well, that's true.
If 25 doesn't go good, and then without a good 25 class, you're kind of right back to the square one, and you may not be quite as bad as FSU, but you're getting pretty close. If 25 doesn't go good and everybody jumps ship, Napier's fired. I mean, without that.
Well, the 25
class.
Yeah, but the 25 class isn't going to be, made for impact next season, though. Like
no, you're right.
That's what the portal will be.
But it would be for the 26th season, so you'd want those guys. You'd want this class to be as strong as you can for the 26th season, because your portal guys are all going to be gone, plus seniors, next year. So,
yeah.
25 better just be a really good year. That's all I can say. Or else it's going to get really bad after that.
Well, Ryan, you're also assuming the eligibility of those transfers.
Like, I think when you look at it at the FSU and Ole Miss scenarios, like the transfers were their best players. Like the best players for Napier still may be as high school guys, and you just and you're just making it better around those guys.
I agree with you on that. I also think having that quarterback already in place, it seems like it makes the portal class look a lot better when you already have that quarterback. Like it's almost like having like an assistant coach almost, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. I mean, and you got to think it's just what we say, and we hope it plays out this way, is there's just a magnet, a lightning rod with Lagway where guys just want to come and play with them and, get that excitement there.
Like when you have that, you get that quarterback, people don't realize how much of a difference it makes, like in practice when you got these new guys coming in and then you got a quarterback there that's not afraid to speak up and say, hey, we don't do it that way. When as far as if you got to go into the portal to get a quarterback, they might be hesitant to speak up.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, because really, what could DJ DJ Uyunglele come in at FSU and start bossing people around?
True.
It's like he's got a whole entire team of guys who nobody know what's going on because they're all new as well.
Yeah.
I was going to add, what would our passing game look like without the transfer portal this year?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eugene's barely played at all, and take the quarterback out of the quarterback for a second. We've had a pretty confident looking passing game. That's because of the transfer portal.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, you guys know I was high on Badger, like many of you were. He's exceeded my expectations, and Chimere Dike absolutely has exceeded the expectations of him making the jump in production. It's absolutely great to see, kind of the lineage of transfers at the wide receiver spot go along with Ricky Pearsall. I mean, it's just been a spot where, just Napier and his staff and Gonzalez have really been able to really get the most out of that position. But certainly, even with all the quarterback, I mean, it's been a weird quarterback just in general for Billy Napier, of course, since he's been here as head coach. But, this year encapsulated it all with the injury to Mertz early on and Lagway getting an early start and then having to get to your third guy. It's been certainly affecting those receivers, but they've been able to come through.
it feels like the portal's been like skill players are a lot easier to get and that produce more out of the portal than say your trench players. They're a lot harder. There's a lot more developmental players, so it's a lot harder to get experienced talent out of the portal.
Well, the thing is it's a
You
lot
know,
of
on
trench guys
offensive
will never hit
line,
the portal.
yeah, and defensive line. I mean, we got what were the two? We got Cam Jackson and
Caleb Banks.
Banks.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it kind of took them 2 years to really start producing at a decent level. You know,
I mean, we see it. Yeah, going just in that group. I mean, Joey Slightman has not done a thing this year. And I know
here you
injuries
go.
have
I
played.
sure am glad they had multiple years of eligibility.
Yeah, and I know he's
That's a win.
I know he's
on
been
the
hurt a
board.
little bit, but yeah, I mean, there's been nothing from Slightman.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But looking for instant impact players on offensive and defensive line for 25 is going to be hard, in my opinion.